what's up guys? It's Alex, and the iPhone 11 Pro Max has been out for over 200 days now. 6 months about? iPhone 12 rumors are starting to stir up, so is this guy still worth $1,000? Okay, so let's keep in mind where we are. We're still here, the newest, fastest, freshest phone from Apple. The 11 Pro and 11 Pro Max are still within the bracket for the highest end smartphones. Quick flashback to how hardcore these were memed on when they first came out. Oh, and we know those cameras are coming back this year. Triple camera? Rocket launcher? Yeah. It's coming. Okay, moving that aside, let's talk about how it's actually held up. So, design-wise, it continues to carry the signature Apple forehead notch, big, chunky, and pretty much the largest notch on the market right now that seems to be heavily focused on doxing notches, but it's the iPhone. I'm sure we all seem to have gotten used to it at this point. The stainless steel bands on the side have held up well to daily use, and I baby my phones, meaning screen protector, phone case, minimal abuse, so even with all that, you'll occasionally notice a tiny micro scratch on the phone. You can pay a price when it comes to smartphone cases, but at the end of the day, you are protecting your $1,000 plus investment, so hey, it's worth it. Even if Apple states it's the toughest glass on a smartphone, glass is glass, and glass breaks. But overall, it's doing pretty well. The stainless steel on the bands paired with the matte glass make for great scratch-resistant materials. The only noticeable wear I've noticed is near the charging port, where the repeated nature of plugging your phone in and out has allowed the lightning cable to occasionally scuff against the bottom band. Nothing major. Overall, the phone gets an A+ when it comes to durability, but just don't drop it. I've never had any bending issues with it, which is expected. It's a very solid phone and surprisingly heavy, and I've come to get used to that heft. But anyway, when it comes to hardware, it still absolutely holds up. iOS 13 updates have only pushed this phone farther and optimized that A13 Bionic even further. It's still as snappy as an iPhone can get at 60 Hz. The tech world moves so fast that you can expect these devices to slow down with time, but the 11 Pro is still an absolute beast. Battery life is still excellent. You can basically pull a day and a half with pretty hefty usage at high brightness and not have any issues, and we do have to understand that they removed 3D Touch, and that allowed for a bigger battery, and at the end of the day, do you really want 3D Touch, or would you prefer a bigger battery? I think we've got the answer there. It's also still the only iPhone that comes with a fast charger, Apple, which can boost the battery from dead to 50% in about half an hour, which is still behind some other phones. The rumored OnePlus 8 is supposed to have the ability to charge your phone from 0 to 50% in 30 minutes wirelessly. So pretty impressive stuff, but Apple always kind of needs to catch up when it comes to these things. Let's talk about the screen now. Apple is still calling it the Super Retina XDR. Totally overkill name, but hey, it's still a great screen. It boosts up to 1200 nits, which is insane for a phone. Supports HDR, it's pretty sharp. Unlike the 11 and 10R, which can't play HD video on YouTube and cost upwards of $500. But hey, these phones still sell a lot of units and people don't seem to have that big of an issue with it. I still think you'll see more age in the design rather than the screen. Apple's had this design for a while. The bezels aren't the thinnest, but button placement is pretty much nailed in my case. My hand has gotten used to perfectly resting on top of the buttons, so adjusting volume, muting the phone with Apple's awesome mute switch, or just hitting the lock button still feel as natural and as tactile as they were when I got the phone. And that happens to be on the back. The trio of cameras is still encased in that glossy finished square module, and right off the bat, I'm gonna tell you, this camera is still a top contender for the best smartphone camera on the planet. Photos are clean, crispy, and vibrant out of the main sensor, and the addition of the ultra-wide sensor was also a really neat feature. Sure, you'll notice a more grainy photo when using the sensor as compared to the main camera, but then again, colors and temperatures are still even amongst all the sensors, which is important. And with top contenders like the Galaxy S20 and S20 Ultra, the 11 Pro is still head-to-head with Samsung's latest flagships. The one quirk I'd say hasn't really been ironed out is the camera UI. Sure, there's been improvements, but for some reason, there's still a background viewfinder frame that doesn't line up with the main frame. It's somewhat distracting until it's blacked out when a subject is in frame. It's not that big of a deal. The option to change your video settings while having your camera open was added not too long ago, and it's sweet. No more diving into the settings to change 30 FPS to 60. It's all right there for you to change at an instant. Night mode is another feature that we're seeing more and more being focused on by companies when it comes to their flagships cameras. Photos are still great under low light conditions. Sure, you can't manually activate night mode, but you can control exposure length. Switching to the front-facing camera, we can talk about Face ID. It's faster than it's ever been, unlocks your phone at a glance pretty smoothly without any hiccups for the most part. The only downside is its capability to read your face when lying flat on a table. So you still have to do that awkward lean over to unlock your phone at a desk, and it's something that can hopefully be addressed with the iPhone 12, hopefully by just increasing the dot reading range on the Face ID, or just tilting it a little forward. So we gotta see what's gonna happen when it comes to the next generation of Face ID. It's something I hope can get addressed in the iPhone 12, and speaking of a September iPhone, there's a couple things I'd love to see, starting with a smaller notch. Come on guys, it's a big notch, and we've gotten to the point where this is not a thing anymore. It's really outdated and it's really big. Number 2, high refresh rate screen, 60 hertz. Guys, you did it on the iPad, 120 hertz ProMotion. Looks amazing, bring it to the iPhone. And number 3, USB-C. Maybe Lightning is still currently the deal, but USB-C, you did that on the iPad Pro too. So can we get there? Maybe. Sure, we need to remember we're dealing with Apple here, so we're most likely going to see that depth projection LiDAR sensor, and the rest is up in the air when it comes to the iPhone SE or iPhone 9 coming soon. But overall, the 11 Pro holds up great. The screen, the battery life, everything with this phone is phenomenal. The cameras, it's still holding up now, and that's impressive to see. This phone sits in a category of very high-end smartphones, that $1,000 plus category, where there's competitors like the S20, the S20 Ultra, Huawei phones. There's a lot of competitors in this market, so it's still an impressive feat from Apple to hold such dominance for the past 6 months. That being said, what are you guys gonna do? You guys gonna wait for the 12, or are you guys gonna jump on an 11 Pro anytime soon, wait for that iPhone 9? Drop your comments down below. That's been the video, guys. It's been Alex. Thanks for watching. Catch you guys in the next one.